everyone, welcome to Planet Juju. I'm back to tell you about another type of scam, the romance scam. The language these scammers use just creeps me out, but it's obviously still fooling people and lucrative or it wouldn't continue. The scammers prey on vulnerable people who are seeking some romantic attention or excitement in their lives, or who feel lonely, or who plain just don't know how to say no. It's nothing new. Even before I noticed creepy people online in the internet relay chat rooms of the 1990s, yes, I'm that old, newspaper Lonely Hearts columns had unscrupulous gold diggers just looking for love. But let's have a look at what's going on these days. Here we have someone who calls himself Robin Gorenk, who's popped up after I made a comment on a Zoe video on YouTube. Let's have a look at his message. You've had a look at my profile picture and you think I look nice. Thanks for the compliment, pal, but apart from being a face in a pink planet, it doesn't say a lot about me, apart from the fact that I might be an alien. The message is weird. It looks like it's been formulated for Facebook, as you don't friend people on YouTube. You subscribe to channels, just like I hope you've subscribed to this one. So they're just randomly pasting a copied message into anything they fancy that might look promising. I know this because YouTube has a useful function where you can see the last few items of activity by someone on a channel, and Robin Gorenk has spammed several people with exactly the same message. Playing the field, Robin. Naughty. It's funny that Robin mentions profile pictures because his profile picture isn't even him. A reverse Google search tells me he stole a picture from a retired US Marine called Anthony Spadaro. I found Anthony's genuine profiles on LinkedIn and Twitter, and I also discovered that scammers have been creating false profiles in his name and with his pictures for a number of years, even on LinkedIn. Poor chap. I messaged him to let him know his picture's being used, and he's since changed his profile picture on Twitter and LinkedIn. But there's not a lot else he can do, apart from contact the various social media platforms and try and get these accounts shut down. I've reported the accounts myself, and this scammer is quite prolific. There are a couple of pretty recent YouTube accounts made on the same day, but YouTube isn't very good at cracking down on fake profiles. Anyway, back to the romance scam. Let's set up a hypothetical scenario of the type of thing that goes on. Hello, Robin. Thank you for your sweet message. I'm happy to be your friend. The scammers, and let me assure you, several people from Scam City may be replying as Robin. The scammers see they've got a potential victim hooked. Hello, gorgeous. You're lovely. Let's get to know each other. Love bombing commences. And the conversation carries on with them building trust and making the victim think they're so lucky to have found someone who pays attention to them and showers them with so many compliments. And then the victim gets drawn into sharing personal details and starts feeling an attachment. If the scammer can use any information you give them to scam you, they will, and that includes mirroring your tastes in food, music, etc. to make you feel like you found a soulmate. Robin turns out to be a single US veteran who now works on an oil rig. After Robin proposes marriage, you find out he needs $25,000 to finish his contract and come home because he has a trust fund for millions just left to him by his father. But he can't access it until he's married, and his wife ran off with a new model and divorced him 3 years ago and took most of his money, and now he also needs a knee replacement. Please could he have the money just to get home, and when he's home he'll pay you back. Maybe you could pay a bill for him and he'll send you a cheque. You know, those rubber cheques that bounce all the way to the bankruptcy court. And then on the way home from the oil rig, some Turkish pirates got onto the shuttle vessel and stole his wallet and passport, so please could he have some more money? This gets even worse. Scammers may threaten their victims with death if they refuse to give them the money. Some will even arrange to meet their victims and hold them hostage. A 64-year-old retired US government employee met a man 30 years her junior on Facebook who invited her to Nigeria under the pretext of love and marriage. They married 3 months after her arrival, but the relationship soon deteriorated and the scammer kept her captive in a Lagos hotel for over a year, during which time he forced her to be part of his scams. This different marriage was recently reported by the BBC World Service's Pidgin Nigeria channel. I can't help thinking it's all going to go pear-shaped for her at some stage, because this is how he describes his business.
Business I they do now, POS, money transfer, deposit and withdrawal business.
And in his own words, how he drew her in.
In profile, the woman comment and things which she dey put for her post. I can't like her post then send her message. So now so we take begin. When I've been proposed to her online, she begin to ask me if I dey sure of my love for her. Say she no get problem. Now to know if me I really want to take the step what I want to. I tell her say yes. If I know dey serious, I no go tell her. She can't say okay. If I dey ready, she say she no get problem with am. Say she like me, she love me.
True love fairy tale romances do exist, but he may just be playing the long game. Time will tell. According to UK's Action Fraud, romance scams here have increased dramatically since the 2020 lockdowns, and Britain's lost over £68 million in 2020. The US Federal Trade Commission says that romance scams far outweigh any other of their fraud categories, with reported cases and money lost increasing dramatically in the last 5 years. And their 2021 figures topped $547 million. Being taken in by a romance scammer is embarrassing, and only 5 to 15% of victims report being defrauded to police or other authorities, so the true figure is likely to be much, much higher. Employing a fraud recovery specialist may help, but scammers are notoriously good at evading the law after they've made off with money and broken families apart. The best way of avoiding these scams is to identify suspicious profiles at the start and never engage. You can do this in the same way as I did, by reverse checking their images using Google Lens and doing some online detective work, or even asking someone you trust to, as a lot of these scammers rely on the fact that people are secretive about new relationships. If you've become romantically involved with someone online, be aware of the red flags of asking for money transfers, gift cards, paying someone else on their behalf, or cashing a cheque for them. Help stop scammers by reporting suspicious profiles or messages to the platform they contacted you on, and report them to your country's fraud agency. Whatever your situation, please don't feel embarrassed to tell someone. Being scammed should not be seen as shameful. It's the scammers who should be ashamed, but they're shameless leeches. I hope you found this useful. Thanks to my friend Roger Payne for his music. There's a link to the whole song in the description and the comments section. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.
I met her at a bar and she said we're drinking gin. Sounded good to me, so I pulled up a chair and I jumped right in. She had eyes like ice and a smile like a slice of sin.